we got deadlift progression next. Okay, this is a really important. We were talking about this one before. This is a complicated one. It's difficult to teach people to do it. Now, normally they'd be probably facing this way to do it, but I'm going to have Liz face me this way so we can see it from the side. Let's be right there. Okay, real simple. First of all, we got a band around the knees. We'll talk about that in a second while we're using it. I want her feet to be a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. When I say that, if you want to be specific, I want the instep of her foot to be right over her the edge of her acromion right here, right? Okay, now I'll have our anatomy now, right? So we understand that, okay? Now, basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to teach them a hip hinge. So what I will tell them is I'll go, look, a squat is where your knees go over your toes and you squat down like this, right? A deadlift is where your lower leg stays relatively vertical. So from her tibia, her knee down stays relatively vertical. And so if you look at me from the side, here's a squat. My tibia is tilting forward. Here's a deadlift. My tibia is staying relatively vertical. Okay? All right, does that make sense? So the best way to teach this at first is just say, okay, all I want you to do is I want you to go hands forward, butt back, and come on back up. Just start with that. Hands forward, butt back. Okay? And then come on back up. Okay? Now I'm looking at seeing how she's dealing with this part of her knees right now. Go again. Hands forward, butt back. Okay? And come on back up. I think she can come forward a little more with her tibias and bring her knees a little further. So unlock your knees just a tiny bit and hands forward, butt back. Bend your knees a tiny bit more. See that? That cleaned her up. She didn't look like she was off balance with that. Okay? Now I want to change my attention to her low back position. So once they've got that, I'm going to look at low back. Okay? I need Liz to keep her chest out and her tailbone out and keep these muscles engaged when you go back for me. Okay? So she's going here. She's low back muscles are engaged. She's keeping her tailbone out to rock back for me. Good, and come on back up. At the end, she lost it just a little bit, and we let her butt go, so just kind of go easy with it. Go again. Good. Now, Liz is doing what a lot of people do. She's trying to keep her chest up when she's doing this. It's okay to let your chest go down towards the ground for me, okay? So go again. Okay, I like that right there. That looks great. Now, people need more training usually for that to get there. She's pretty athletic, and she knows how to move, okay? But go again, hands forward, butt back. Now, I'm also going to say, come on back up. Liz, what do you think that band's around your knee for? Stability, to engage stability. So don't let the band pull you in. If anything, pull out on the band. So knees out, hands forward, butt back. Good, and come on back up. Okay? Knees out, hands forward, butt back. Keep these muscles engaged here. She loses it a little bit at the end. Don't go so deep for me. Keep your tailbone up for me, Liz. Right there. She wants to wink her butt. Okay, I don't want her to do that. Come on back up. Okay? Other things that we need to look at. Go to the bottom and pause for a second, Liz. Try to lift your toes up. You should have your weight on your heels when you're doing this, right? And when she comes up, drive through your heels and come up straight up, okay? Lastly, at the top, again, it's a complicated exercise. Try to get them hands forward, butt back on the first one. Each time they come in, get them better at it. Lastly, when she comes back up to the top, I want her to do the Elvis pelvis thrust maneuver, so we're here, okay? We're finishing with our glutes, okay? So try again. Go hands forward, butt back, come to the top, flatten at the top. Good, not bad. Hands forward, butt back. Those are the components. You'll get better at training them to do those things. It's not easy, okay? This is probably one of the harder ones you're going to teach people, and it's one of the ones we have the most frustration for to get it right. People that don't know how to control their body have a lot of trouble with this one. But guess what? You're doing all this basic stuff to try to get this better over time. These are the high-level stuff that we're doing. A lot of people are going to have, like, they can't even roll, and you're asking them to do a deadlift progression, okay? It's going to take some time for them to get better at that as well, too. Does that make sense? Did I hit all the components on that one? Anything else, Dan, that we talked about?
That's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, the biggest trouble is that lower, in my mind, is that lower back rounding.
Yeah, you can't let it round. So you got it.
Exactly.
But you got to let your chest come forward a little bit more. See how you can let your chest forward and still do that? And then come on back up. Good, okay? And you can cut that same.